So Super Bowl 54 at this point has been pretty much beaten to death. We all get how the story unfolded. The 49ers had a real chance to win the Super Bowl. Kansas City came back, largely due to Mahomes playing fantastic in the fourth quarter. That's the way history is going to remember it. However, it is pretty interesting that I do feel like there was a great story that's not going to be told simply because the Kansas City Chiefs did come back. And that's the story of fullback Kyle Juszczyk. I mean, okay, he's actually been a really good player for the 49ers for quite some time, but at the same time, he's a fullback. He's not the kind of guy who everybody is talking about heading into Super Bowl 54. But when it came down to Super Bowl 54, he had a fantastic game. He was absolutely a key way that they got up by 10 in the first place. And so I wanted to kind of give him some love, break down a few plays that he made, because he did have a great Super Bowl even though it was in a losing effort. Let's just start things off with his touchdown, where what's going to happen is that it's going to be man coverage, and it's going to be play action actually, so Juszczyk is going to fake as though he's blocking, but then he's going to run that route to the bottom half of the screen, see if he can get open, basically selling the play action. Hopefully that can give him some leverage. First things first, you notice that he is faking as though he's going to be blocking right there. He's kind of running very far over. You notice that his shoulders are completely turned towards the sideline on the top half of the screen. So now trying to get back to the bottom half of the screen, he's going to have to basically do a complete 180 here. But what I find very interesting here is that he actually doesn't do the 180 the way you would expect, turning to the right side of the screen. He's actually going to turn to his left. It was a quick little nifty move, I thought, but because he did that, he was able to much more quickly get down to the bottom half of the screen, and now there's definitely some separation here. But what I find very interesting about this situation is that Juszczyk knows that he could run a little bit further in, closer to Garoppolo to guarantee that it's a catch, but the problem with that is he's running basically right to the line of scrimmage, and it would make for a much easier tackle. There's some separation, but the separation is closing quickly, so if he decides to hang back and make this catch, it could work out, but it could also definitely result in the ball getting knocked away. However, Juszczyk is going to take this chance here. He's going to be patient, and he's going to let the ball come to him, and it's really going to pay off. Sorensen goes for the ball, isn't able to get there, and because of that, Juszczyk stays on his feet and is able to get into the end zone for a Super Bowl touchdown. So that by itself was great. Just, okay, a fullback getting a passing touchdown, that's pretty cool, but it did not end there. He had a fantastic game throughout the entire Super Bowl. Like, he came through on another very similar play in the red zone where this is going to be a cover one linebacker blitz. Once again, it's going to be play action. They're going to have Juszczyk start off blocking a Kansas City player, but then he's going to run up to the top half of the screen, try to get open. So, again, they're seeing if they can fool Kansas City here. And right after the ball is snapped, Juszczyk starts blocking, then runs up to the top half of the screen. And if you look at his assigned man, he's all the way over there. So there is a ton of separation right now for Juszczyk to make this play because Juszczyk sold it so well. But again, this could easily result in just a couple of yards. Good job by Juszczyk to sell it. But at the end of the day, yes, there is separation, but there's plenty of Kansas City players in the area who could make a tackle. However, what I love about this from Juszczyk is watch how he makes the catch, turns his shoulders, and is able to just so quickly just run and fall forward to get the ball all the way to the 1 yard line. It's that falling forward thing that I think is key. If he just got brought down right away, they only gained a few yards on this play, but because he was able to turn his shoulders and completely fall forward, he picked up as many yards as possible on that play, and it set up for a touchdown. And in fact, in that touchdown, he actually had a key block, where what happened was San Francisco got very creative on the goal line here. They're going to have their center and their left tackle actually double team that Kansas City player, and they're going to leave Chris Jones completely unblocked here at the line. But that doesn't mean that they're leaving him completely unblocked, period. Juszczyk is going to be the guy who's going to block Jones. So again, this is a big time matchup. If you watched my Chris Jones video I just made, just uploaded it yesterday, I'm a big fan of Chris Jones. He can make some big time plays. But Juszczyk, watch what he does, and I always felt like a fullback just has to be the most fearless guy on the field, because watch how he just lowers the shoulder, gets his pad level low, and is just going to run straight into one of the best players in the NFL. You have to be fearless to do that, but he is going to get in the way of Jones and not allow Jones to get into this play. It results in a touchdown. It admittedly wasn't perfectly blocked on the right side, but it was a good piece of running to get into the end zone. So you could say, okay, well, it's not like Juszczyk really did that much, but he actually did. I mean, if he doesn't make that block, then Chris Jones is able to run over and he's able to help make a positive impact on that play. They probably don't get a touchdown there. Who knows if they still get a touchdown on that drive, but they probably don't get a touchdown on that play. So without a doubt, a huge key block from Juszczyk. And another way that he was able to be effective was on a play like this, where what's going to happen is that it's going to be a screen pass to the bottom half of the screen. They're going to have a screen pass to Kittle, actually. So the two 49ers who aren't Kittle on the bottom half of the screen run out to block. Kittle steps a couple steps back, makes sure he gets the catch, then tries to run, pick up as many yards as possible. And one of the great things about having a good pass-catching fullback is that now you can have Kyle Juszczyk, who's right there, line up as a receiver, and he can help block somebody. So kind of gives you a little bit of an advantage there. But of course, the flip side is just the fact that now there's also going to be a linebacker out there because you have a fullback down there. And as you see, once the ball is snapped, the linebacker does do a pretty good job of getting sort of further in than Juszczyk would like. I mean, there's definitely a little bit of an angle right here. And also for Juszczyk, he's doing a great job of, he didn't initiate any contact until the Kansas City player that he's trying to block got to where he's at, because if you try to block too far down the field before the pass is thrown, well, then that can be a penalty. So you do have to be careful there. But still, at this point, this is a dangerous situation. I mean, just look at where the Kansas City player is in relation to Kittle. He's basically right aligned with him. So Juszczyk is without a doubt going to have to finish off his block very well. But that's going to be exactly what he does. He gets that block out of the way. Kittle puts his shoulder down, picks up 5 yards. Nothing insane, but at the same time, if they lost 5 yards on that play, that might have taken them out of field goal range. So again, a huge play, even though they did lose the game. This was a huge play up until that point. It was a small play, but it had a huge impact. And there's also the whole, if you got knocked out of field goal range or it was a long field goal, well, maybe you try to pass to get back in field goal range and maybe you screw something up. So again, it's the whole butterfly effect. You change one small thing, maybe everything changes. Who knows? But without a doubt, definitely a good play at the time from Juszczyk. And, you know, his good blocking ability came in handy as well. The fact that he can block well then made it easier for him to catch a ball deep down the field. Like on this play, what happened was it's going to be a cover 3 zone that Kansas City is in. And for San Francisco, they're going to run play action, and Juszczyk is going to run that route right there. Keep in mind, this is a very similar thing that you would do if you're a fullback, just in general, run through the line, try to block somebody. And so by the time that he doesn't block anybody and Kansas City realizes it, he could already be in a gap in coverage. Like, watch. After the ball is snapped, you look at that Kansas City linebacker who is trying to get back into that zone that Juszczyk is currently in. He fell for the play action, and now there's separation. Garoppolo makes a good throw. Juszczyk makes the catch, takes a hit, but it doesn't matter. He hangs on to the football. They're able to get a big gain just like that. And that's just kind of what Juszczyk was able to do all Super Bowl long. He blocked well. He had one of his best pass-catching games of the season. And I do think that it's kind of unfortunate that his great game is going to be lost in history a little bit. Because, listen, he probably wasn't going to be the Super Bowl MVP. I think the irony in all of this is that Jimmy Garoppolo probably ends up being Super Bowl MVP if they hung on to win and, didn't blow that 10-point fourth quarter lead, which is very funny, because now he's the guy who everyone blames. So kind of just goes to show what winning does, just because there was no real standout. So usually it goes to the quarterback when there's no real standout. So it probably would have been Garoppolo, but Juszczyk absolutely would have been one of those guys that everybody gives a lot of credit to, even if he doesn't win MVP. He would have been on the front page of Reddit saying this guy was the real MVP. That's just kind of how I feel like it would have gone had San Francisco won. So it's definitely unfortunate that his game did get a little bit lost in history, but I didn't want to let it get fully lost in history. I figured I should bring it up. I've definitely beaten the Super Bowl to death at this point, but there still are some small things that I kind of every now and then say, oh yeah, I should talk about that. let's talk about Juice. Talk about what he was able to do. He definitely had an absolutely fantastic game. Sucks that they lost for 49ers fans, but he definitely did his part. So yeah, that's what I thought of Juszczyk's performance in the Super Bowl. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.